Hurken okkur trap sonsen Trap sonsen, trap donsen Түүний сонсдог хөгжим дур булаан Даалар стуулан дур булаа мууруулаа
What's up, people? Adam Hunter here. I am still out of the country, so it's still part of the Best of Week, where I'm going to show some of my favorite interviews over the course of the past 5 years. Now, I had the honor to talk to Daniel Cormier numerous times. One of my favorite fighters, my favorite people, someone I look up to, the UFC champion, the heavyweight champion, was a 205 champion, two-time Olympian. So we're going to play some of the interviews I did with Daniel Cormier. That was a highlight of my career. Being able to talk to that legend. I want to thank our sponsor, Santa Cruz Medicinals. Listen, they got potent CBD-infused coconut oil, olive oil, MCT oil, as well as vape pens and more. It's gluten-free, it's vegan, it's paleo, and sugar-free. I use this stuff, and it helps with pain, it helps me relax, helps with stress. I highly recommend it. scmedicinals.com. scmedicinals.com. Mention Roasted, you get $5 off. As well as Speedweed. Listen, marijuana is legal in California. You get it delivered. Don't leave your house. You go to your house, you can get all kinds of stuff. All bad things happen when you leave the house, okay? So, get it delivered to you. They will take care of it. They got great stuff. They got marijuana. They have edibles. They have CBD. They have anything you need. THC sex lube, okay? Spice up your sex life. And they're good people. Whatever you can possibly imagine when it comes to marijuana, Speedweed has. Follow them at Speedweed. Speedweed.com. Check them out. Mention MMA Roasted. You get $10 off orders of $100 or more. If you want to see me do comedy in person, I'll be in Reno, Nevada next week at the Laugh Factory. Reno, Nevada at the Laugh Factory. In April, I will be at the Black Box Theater in Boca Raton. That's April 19th and 20th. I'll be in New York City at the Gotham Comedy Club on May 17th. And in June, I will be in Minnesota at the House of Comedy, as well as the Arizona House of Comedy in Phoenix, Arizona. Every Tuesday night, you can see me at the Dime Bar in Hollywood, and I got more dates coming up. So if you also want to hear my CD, you can listen to my album. It's on Pandora as well as Spotify. Just go Adam Hunter, Still Broke. I have 3 albums actually on Spotify. I have Adam Hunter, Dysfunctional, and Adam Hunter Needs Help. All those are on Spotify, iTunes, and Pandora. So let's get to Daniel Cormier, some of the interviews I did with him. Super honored, and I hope you enjoy. Take care. Bye. So we're gonna call Cormier first. We're gonna talk about his fight with Rashad Evans, his maybe possibly fighting John Jones after that. Got a lot of questions for Daniel, and thanks for listening. Hello, is this Daniel Cormier?
Yep.
Hey, what's up? It's Adam Hunter on the MMA Roasted podcast.
Hey, Adam, how you doing, bro?
Good, how are you? T-Rex couldn't make it. He, I don't know, I guess he had 7 more kids during the show or something, but how are you?
I'm good, man. Just sitting down eating some lunch. Forgot we were doing this.
Oh, nice. Thank you. We're such a priority to people. Half of our guests don't even know why we're calling them. But,
no problem, dude. I'll do it. Can you hear me right now, or do I need to step outside?
I can hear you great, man. I can hear you great. Okay. So congrats on your big fight against Rashad Evans, man.
Oh, I'm excited, man. I'm so pumped up about this fight. I'm really going to get to test myself against one of the best fighters of all time.
Now, Rashad looked great in his last fight against Chael. Are you? Have you been watching that? Are you nervous at all? I mean, what are your thoughts?
I'm always nervous, you know. I mean, these guys are professional fighters, man. And once you get to the level that I'm fighting at now, there's always a lot of nerves, but it's not based on just the fight with Chael Sonnen. It's based on the fight with Chael Sonnen, Chuck Liddell, Dan Henderson, Forrest Griffin, and everybody else that he's beaten. You know, Rashad's beaten a laundry list of guys, and some of the best fighters of all time. So it's based on everything that he's done in the sport that makes me nervous and makes me want to prepare harder than I ever have before.
Right. No, I mean, Rashad, he's looking, he's one of these guys I feel like he's either on or off, you know? And when he's on, he's on.
He's well, you know, he had an off night against against Little Nog, but outside of that, I mean, he's always fought well. I mean, I think he's maybe 22-3. I mean, that's an unbelievable record. You know, not many guys get to that type of record. So for him to have accomplished what he's accomplished, you know, winning the Ultimate Fighter, being the UFC champion, and to be 22-3,
yeah.
He hasn't had many off nights.
Right. Now that's absolutely true. Now it seems like you like Rashad. Is it now like when you fought like Roy Nelson and he called you an Uncle Tom, or like when you fought like guys like John Jones who you guys have it back and forth? Is it easier to get up for a fight where you don't like the guy?
You know what, man? It's not that different because I'm a professional fighter, man. I have to fight and prepare, you know. So I think the biggest issue with Rashad is that I like him. He's my friend, and you know, I never thought that we would have to fight each other, especially so soon. I didn't think he would be my first fight down at 205 pounds, and I didn't think we were ever going to have to fight, honestly. But it's not hard for me to get motivated to fight. I know that it's my job. It's what I have to do, and if I don't go ready to fight, he's going to be ready to fight, and he's going to beat me.
Right. I mean, how's the weight cut coming along?
It's going good, man. You know, I just got back in the gym this week. I've been training hard. It's already starting to come back down. You know, I had been really busy right after the Roy Nelson fight with this travel and the TV and stuff. But now I'm back in the gym, and it's starting to come back down already, man. I'm excited about how this is going to play out. It's just another challenge, another thing for me to try to overcome. You know, I love obstacles. I love overcoming obstacles, overcoming things that I set in front of myself, accomplishing my goals. And this is just another thing that I want to do.
So what are you walking around at right now?
Today I probably like 228, which is really good.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Are you on the Dolce diet or?
No, man. I have a nutrition sponsor, Automatic Body, by Nutri, Automatic MMA. They have an app that tells me when to eat. They also have like these protein shakes and a meal suppressant energy enhancer for me. There's a lot of great products that I use from them that actually helps me to maintain a healthy weight. You know, so I'm just doing that right now. But I'm also going to talk to my friend Aaron Simpson, a guy that used to wrestle when I was wrestling, that would have a tough time making 184 pounds. And I saw him fight at 170. So obviously he's figured some things out in terms of weight cutting. And I'm going to pick his brain about that and pick everybody else's brain who can actually help me.
Nah, dude, you're killing it, man. I mean, the fact is, I think that if it wasn't for Cain Velasquez, I think you're basically right now the number 2 guy, right behind Cain.
Yeah.
Are you mad at Cain for making you lose this weight?
No, I'm not, man. I you know, not only is it going to be beneficial for our gym to have 2 champions, hopefully, but it's going to be good for me, you know, because it's making me live healthier, which in turn is going to help me to live longer and have energy and play with my kids, even when I'm training hard. It's going to make life better all around, you know. So I'm not mad at him. I just think that it's probably something I was going to have to do anyways.
Now, somebody told me that when it comes to wrestling, you throw Cain around the octagon, but when it comes to MMA wrestling, he beats your ass. Is there truth to that, or?
You know, I think you're kind of stirring the pot there because nobody comes out of the gym and actually talks about what happened. But, you know, man, we have some competitive training all the time, all across the board. Training's competitive, sparring, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, everything's competitive, and that's why we're at where we are. I mean,
well, I mean, the guy who told me that was a drunk at a bar. I don't think he actually ever saw you guys.
Yeah, and he was probably like 2 feet tall. He was standing under the chair, and he just whispered to you, right?
It was actually John Jones that told me that. John Jones. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that sounds good. John probably would, huh?
Now, speaking of with John Jones, now if you beat Rashad, I think you and Jones beats Glover, I think you guys are fight each other next. No?
We should, man. I mean, you know, we have a lot of us have, and myself included, we've elevated Alexander Gustafsson to this level of champion. He's like the champion because his popularity has soared. His what people think of him has soared because of the way he fought John. I think we have to kind of pump the brakes a little bit and realize that he lost. Alexander lost. So with my resume, if I can beat Rashad Evans, I think I should get to fight for the belt. Alexander's going to get to fight for the belt, but we have to remember he lost that fight, and if he beats Jimmy Manuwa in impressive fashion, and I think it should be discussion. It shouldn't just be guaranteed.
Now, I like you nervous because I looked at your age. You're going to be 35 soon. Most athletes peak when they're 32. Are like you nervous? Maybe you're getting up there that like you have to fight Jones the next year or two.
Well, I don't think it's going to take that long. I don't think it's going to take 2 years for me to fight for the championship. But I haven't been doing this sport very long, so I think I still have a long time in it. I started at 30, so I haven't had many bad injuries. I haven't been knocked out or anything. Knock on wood. But I've got some time in the sport, man. I want it to be sooner than later, but John moved his fight again today, so I don't know if he's ever going to fight again.
Now, yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. I know.
It's the fourth date that he's had.
This fight's been booked more than Mayhem. Now, I got to say, Cormier, I don't know if people know your story, but you have such an inspiring story. I mean, your father was murdered when you were 7. You had a daughter pass away in a car accident, but you've come up, and you're one of the strongest and nicest people I've ever met. And I'm not trying to just kiss your ass. I'm not. I mean, but if there is a guy whose ass needs to be kissed, it's yours, man. I mean, do you ever think about running for mayor or anything, or?
You know what, man? I think that it's all a matter of how we look at things. Is this gonna bury me, or am I gonna use this as motivation to guide me to do things to make these people that I lost proud of me? And that's what I've used it as. It sucks to lose my dad. It sucks to lose a daughter. Nothing's worse than losing a kid. But I let my daughter's memory, Kaden Emery Cormier, I let it guide me in everything I do, and that's why I'm able to accomplish the things that I've accomplished, because there's a little angel that guides me in my day-to-day life.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and that's why I think also that you're so fearless. Like that's why I would never bet against you ever, because I was like, dude, this dude's been through so much, having to deal with that at the age, I was 23 years old, and having to deal with that, I looked at it afterwards like, it could never be worse. All I can do is lose a fight or lose a wrestling match. So what? I can always go back and do it again. When you lose people so close to you like that, there's no bringing them back. There's no second chance. So, I'll go fight anybody. I don't care. What's going to happen? They're going to beat me? Okay, that's fine. I'll go back to the gym and just keep getting better. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I look at the guys also that you've beat, like the Josh Barnett's, and you look at the Bigfoot Silva. You watch Bigfoot Silva's last fight against Mark Hunt, which is one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life. And here's a guy you knocked out in one round, and he was taking Hunt's best shots.
Bigfoot Silva's a tough guy, man. He's a tough guy. That was a great fight. I enjoyed every second of that fight. It
was amazing. It was one of the best fights I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I loved it. It's crazy.
It was crazy. No, but there's a fight like that. So you watch that and you're like, man, these guys, that might have taken off 10 years on both their lives. If I was a fighter, I wouldn't want to get in those kind of wars.
I don't. But if a guy makes me fight, if a guy makes me have to bite down on my mouthpiece and just fight, I'll do it. Josh Barnett made me do that. That's why when I walked out of that fight, I had cuts all over my face. I was all beat up. It's because he made me. Josh Barnett was not going to allow me to beat him and do it going away. He was trying to win every second of the fight. So on February 22nd, Rashad comes to fight, makes me fight like that. I'll fight like that. I'll do, if I'm fighting a guy like Roy Nelson and I'm having my way with him as I was, what's the point in standing in there and just and giving him a chance,
Now, a lot of people are saying that like it kind of sucks you're losing this weight because the fight could have been billed as Oprah versus Carlton. But just so you know, you're like totally screwing that up. I can't make that roast anymore. Thanks a lot. By the way, but now when you fought in the Olympics, you were a bronze medalist the first time, correct?
No, fourth. I got fourth.
So it's gold, silver, bronze, and then what's
bronze, and then I got fourth. I missed the medals by one, and then I got a bronze medal in the World Championships.
Right, and then the second time you were team captain, but you cut too much weight, and then your liver gave out or something, or?
My kidney, like I had some issues with my kidneys. I was sucking off too much water. I wasn't dieted down. I was just sucking off whatever I needed to step on the scale at 211 and then go wrestle the next day, and I did that for way too long, and my body finally said enough is enough, and I shut down at the worst possible time. The doctor at the Olympic Training Center said, Daniel, we wish we could give you more of a medical reason, but it was just that your body said enough, and it was at the worst time imaginable.
So you where was that? Now that was the Sydney?
That was Beijing.
That was Beijing. So you go all the way to Beijing, and then you can't wrestle. And now, are you just miserable for that week or two?
I was miserable for months. I went into a deep depression. It meant everything to me to try and be Olympic champion, and because of my actions, I didn't get the chance to do that. Nobody did that to me. I did that to myself. I wasn't disciplined. I didn't commit myself like I needed to in order to give myself the best chance to win. So I went into depression like you wouldn't imagine. Dude, I had a year where I just I had no direction. I didn't know what to do. That was the thing. Of everything that happened, that was the thing that almost broke me. And I ballooned up to 263 pounds. And it was bad, man. It was hard for me.
Wow. But you came out of it. Was it the wife that got you out of it, or?
You know what? It was sports, man. The thing that has always been there to kind of elevate me. Wrestling was what saved me when my daughter passed. I went back into that sport and started going towards my goals again. And then Dwayne Zinke, my manager, asked me a year later, DC, do you still want to try fighting? And I said, you know what? Yeah. And I did. And I found something again to work towards. Anytime I can get a goal and I can put something out in front of me to accomplish, it's when I'm in my element. So now I'm back where I need to be. Obviously my family played a huge part too. But sports and goals, and now my kids and my girlfriend and my family. So I have a lot of reasons to be successful, and I'm going to continue to try and achieve that.
Absolutely. Now, how do you see the Rashad fight going?
I think it's going to be a good fight. I think you're going to see me fight like I fought Josh Garnett, because I think Rashad is going to make me fight that way. Rashad's going to come in and he's going to hit me, he's going to beat me, and he's going to make me fight in every position. And then you're going to see an exciting, tough, fun fight. Now,
I got a couple questions from Sherdog. Someone wants to know what you're going to weigh in on fight night.
Hopefully 220, 225. I'd like to get back up to 220, 225.
Wow, so you're going to put on 20 pounds after that night?
I'd like to put on about 19, 20 pounds, actually, yeah.
And then someone wanted to know if you're going to fight in Argo.
Agon.
Agon.
You know what? That's my main sponsor is Cage Fighter, CF Athletic, and they run that. And yeah. If the right opportunity comes and timing works out, I'll definitely wrestle.
Argo's a movie, right? Sorry, what am I doing? Sorry about that. You should go fight in Argo too. You should fight the Syrians over there. It was the Syrians. I didn't see the actual movie. And then also, so there was a beef on Twitter where Ben Askren said to John Jones that you were going to beat John Jones, and then Jones went after Askren and said you stick with wrestling. Were you in that beef at all? That
No, I wasn't.
Now, are you and Askren friends, or?
Yeah, Askren's my buddy, but that's because John, it's the interviews John does where he badmouths me and makes fun of me. I've got some good friends in the sport and good friends from wrestling that will try and defend me, and Ben did just that, so I thought it was funny because John can't win a war of words against Ben Askren. No chance.
Do you think the UFC should have signed Askren?
I do. I think he's one of the best fighters in the world, but it didn't work right now. But I think in time, I think Ben Askren will fight in the UFC and be very successful.
Okay, so then the final question. You versus John Jones. What happens in that fight?
I win. I just break him. I will literally go across the cage and fight him until I break him. And that'll probably be the end. That'll probably be the last we see of John Jones, because I'm just going to go and try to break him.
So first round stoppage?
Nope. Much longer than that, because I won't give him the option to get out of the cage that early. I want to go in his face and just beat him up for as long as he's willing to stay until he quits for me.
Wow. Well, I think we have the title for this next article. Daniel Cormier, when I met you, you couldn't have been a nicer guy. I'm a huge fan. Have a great weekend, man, and keep up the great work, man.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me again.
Anytime.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so our next guest is got a huge fight coming up against Dan Henderson this weekend. If he wins, he gets the title shot.
Yeah.
Personally, I think he's the next 205 champion.
He is. I can guarantee it.
And he's one of my favorite people. Honestly, I said that about a lot of fighters. I lie about most of them. But this guy is honestly one of my favorite people. Daniel Cormier, how are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How you boys doing?
We're doing great.
So you're what? You're 40. You're like 4 days out.
Todd,
Yeah.
Todd. Lotus flower bomb.
All right, that was the gayest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Thanks, guys. That's,
Hey, Adam, Todd's my lotus flower bomb.
you're his Lotus flower bud? What is that?
Lotus
Yeah,
Flower
yeah.
Bomb. You know that song, Lotus? It's a long story, but
Yeah, it's a long story. Something we've been doing for years. It never gets old.
Well, obviously not. So how are you, man? So you're what? You're 4 days out of the probably the biggest fight of your life. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good, man. Just kind of laying around now. You know, my kids are sleeping. That's why I'm being quiet. You know, you know if you have kids that you can't really be too loud because you wake them up in the middle of a nap. It's like waking up a sleepwalking person, like on Step Brothers.
dude,
You don't want to do that.
his son looks exactly like him.
He's 280 pounds.
Pretty much.
Really?
He's a big ass little kid. He looks exactly like his dad.
Nice. How old's your son?
My son is 3 now, man. He's 3. He turned 3 in February. My daughter turned 2 in March. So we had 2 kids in 13 months. It's fast.
Nice. Now, congratulations, man. I mean, you're a role model, man. You can't say that about many people. You're a legitimate role model. Now,
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
no worries,
Nice.
man. Now, how much do you weigh right now?
This morning I was 217, so I'm like 11 pounds overweight.
Wow.
Over 206. You know, so I'm in good position.
I know from people that like have hung out with you, when you eat for like 9 people. It's like the Last Supper, everything. How did you manage to get your weight down?
I mean, you know, I want to be a champion, man. And, you know, as much as I love eating, because, I mean, I can sit and you know, Todd's been there with me before. When Todd and Sarah were sponsoring me, you know, we go to dinner, and I run up the bill by myself. No,
He's not lying.
my desire to be the champion is greater than anything else. You know, I mean, I want to be the champion. I knew that this is my opportunity, and I had to change some things. You know, so I got a nutrition sponsor, Nutri. They take care of all my supplemental needs and all my protein and all my stuff like that. And I just eat a lot cleaner, man. I'm eating stuff this week that has nothing in it. Bro, they take the chicken. I even ordered it last time at the Mandalay Bay. I said, give me a chicken breast with some carrots and rice. And they said, okay, the chicken breast was like some sort of seasoning on it. I said, I don't need that seasoning. They said, well, what do you want on it? I go, nothing. Take it out of the packet, put it right on the grill and cook it just like that, and send it up to my room. And send some lemon, because I can squeeze lemon on my chicken. I get no salt, I get nothing. It's killing me.
Oh,
Now, I mean, I remember you saying that you're gonna beat Hendo because you're hungrier. Are you literally hungrier, or are you just hungrier? Like...
I was literally I'm more hungry than he is. Yesterday, Hendo and I were in L.A. That dude weighed 203 pounds.
203?
203 pounds.
Did you try to eat him?
I will on Saturday night.
Nice. Now, we have a question from the underground from Team Quest North, who's obviously the guy who probably trains with Hendo. He's a big fan of the show, but he said he wants to know if you plan on standing with Hendo or just taking the boring route of lay and pray and wall and stall.
I mean, listen, I'm going to fight wherever I feel comfortable. If it's better to take him down, I'll take him down. But am I afraid to stand with Dan Henderson? Not one bit. I mean, I can box and kickbox with anybody in mixed martial arts. So every fight starts standing. You know, if anybody has a chance to stay on their feet, it's Dan Henderson, right? He's an Olympian just as I am. So if Dan can stop me from taking him down, then I guess the fight's going to play out on its feet. I'm not afraid to stand with him though.
But he was an Olympian back in Sparta. Now, but don't you think?
That's why you're and Adam. That's why you're on the late night talk shows, because you're funny.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. No, but don't you think that with Hendo, that his one chance of beating you is landing that overhand right, and you know that if you win this fight, you get to fight John Jones next. So aren't you kind of tempted a little bit to just all right, let's just grind this out. If it's boring, it's boring. Let's just win this fight.
I got to win the fight. I mean, regardless of how the fight looks. You know, I say this with as much respect as I can because I respect Dan so much. But Dan Henderson can't beat me over the course of a 15-minute fight. I can. Dan Henderson won't submit me, but I can submit Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson has a chance to win this fight, and it's by knocking me out. If he doesn't do that, I don't feel like he can beat me. And I say that with as much respect as I can have for him.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. He has that old man strength. He has like that grandpa man strength. But it's gonna be. I can't wait. I can't wait. And I've been saying this since the beginning of the show. I think that you're the guy to beat John Jones. I think that you.
I believe it too.
I think that you match up best with him. I think that. Especially at 205, I look at your record. I mean, you knocked out Bigfoot Silva. I don't think John Jones could knock out Bigfoot Silva. I mean, granted, maybe anyone could knock out anybody with the right punch, but you straight up knocked out. Now, do you worry, though, that your power left with your gut?
No. I think I hit harder now because I'm faster. My speed and technique, that all brings power. You know, it's not just, well, I punch hard. It's speed and technique. You know, that equals power too. So I think I'm actually hitting harder now than I even did as I was bigger because I'm hitting people more often. I'm able to keep a higher pace longer. I just do a lot of things better at this weight, you know, and it feels good, man. I do things a lot better at this weight. But you're right. I don't think John could knock these guys out. But there are a lot of guys, you know, that I'm not sure they could beat the same guys that I beat. And I'm not sure they could beat him in the way that I beat him. And that's how you look at matchups, you know?
Yeah, I don't see John Jones beating Josh Barnett. I don't even know if I see him beating Frank Mir. I mean, and those are guys that you manhandled.
Dude, your destruction of Josh Barnett was ridiculous.
I mean,
that is my greatest fight to date because he's so good. He brought out the best in me. He made me fight at a level that I never even knew I could fight, actually. And I think that's going to happen on Saturday, too. I think you're going to see the best version of me on Saturday because I just respect Dan so much and I think so highly of him. It feels like the Barnett fight. It feels like the fight that's just going to make me fight better than I ever have in my life.
Now, after you beat Pat Cummings, did you order a coffee?
I was kind of making jokes even leading up to the fight because he was talking so much. But I'm not a big coffee drinker, man. I think I had my fill on February 22nd. You know, I took a barista out to the backyard, took care of him.
I know disrespect to Pat Cummings because I know Pat Cummings. He used to hang out at Mayhem's house. They were roommates, and I was friends with Mayhem, and I would see Pat Cummings all the time. And I liked Pat Cummings, but you were right. He was in over his head. You can't just walk into a fight with Daniel Cormier. I give him respect. The guy's got more balls than anybody I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the fact that he was willing to never have 4 fights or 5 fights and to walk into a fight with you on a week notice. I mean, shit. There's not many people that can do that. So
he just didn't want to put on that apron anymore.
He deserves respect. But you know what else he did? Was he actually got exposure at a level that most people don't ever get in the UFC. A lot of guys, you're lucky if you get to fight on the main event of Fox Sports 1. got the fight in the co-main event of a big pay-per-view. You know, so he reached levels that most guys won't ever see. You know, and he also got his contract. You know, he has another fight. I think Pat's gonna be okay. You know, he was in over his head, man. I mean, when he walked out of that tunnel, he had to be thinking like, "Holy shit!" I'm sorry.
This is real.
Like, you know, he's like, "Holy cow!" You know, holy cow, 13,000 people in here, and that's when it hits you. All the interviews, all the other stuff, it all wears on you, man. Right as you're walking into the cage, I said it time and time again. Adam Todd, I said, "I've done this. I've walked this walk. I've done this dance before." He hasn't. This is gonna be new to him. I've been doing this since the Olympics. You know, he never really did that. So
I mean, honestly, on a very, very smaller scale, it's like kind of with comedy with me and Todd. It's like you get these guys. Oh, I could be funny. I could be funny, and then you put them up in front of a crowd, and it's not the same. It's not the same as making your 4 friends laugh.
Right.
In the back of a car. It's not the same. You might get lucky once or twice, but you can't do it over. It's a skill. And Pat Cummings might be. Everyone that was people were picking Pat Cummings. People that train with Pat Cummings were picking him. Jake Ellenberger said he had a shot of beating you. So I was like, I guess everyone technically has a shot. But I was like, holy shit, maybe this guy is for real. But then it just made no sense. After
all the hype behind people, saying that people are refusing to fight this guy. Like, how many fights did people back out of with him? Like 20 fights?
Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so everybody was like, damn, this guy must be a beast. Well, all these people are backing out of fights. He's not fighting.
Yeah, right. Now, what did you say to him afterwards?
Get me a
Nothing.
coffee. Where's
Nothing?
my latte?
Nothing?
I have not spoken a word to him since the fight.
Right.
I haven't spoken a word to him, man. It's just we haven't had a chance to be around each other or have the opportunity to talk either. You know, it's not due to some ill will. It's just because the opportunity really hasn't been there. I tell you one thing, though. When I was getting ready for Henderson and I needed partners, I actually reached out to his management and said, hey, could Patrick Cummins come up and train with me? Because I needed bodies.
You just
wanted
to make him cry.
No. And what did they say? They said, sorry,
I don't care.
He has a shift
how
from...
I feel about someone. If they are going to help me prepare, I'll use them.
Well, how come Pat Cummins didn't come? He had an order at a...
He said he had his own thing going on. You know, he had his own fight, and he was getting ready for his fight, and just didn't want to leave his training camp, which is fine. But I would have probably preferred him. I'd have said, hey, I get a chance to work out with this guy. Why not? You know, it's probably better than what I'm getting, here, or something different at least. So
yeah, absolutely.
It was kind of weird, but maybe he just wasn't ready to move past everything and start training together.
Yeah, we did screw him up. Although he did land a couple of punches on you, I have to say he did land some. And you said that his speed, he was the fastest guy you've ever fought.
Yeah, he was moving faster than because I was so used to heavyweights, and at heavyweight it was like they're just extremely slow. So even if Pat was like, if he wasn't like the fastest 205-pounder, he was much faster than the heavyweights, much faster.
So a couple other things.
It didn't hurt though.
Now I know that you've been very vocal since the incident. We're not allowed to talk about when you got into John Jones's face because he snubbed T-Rex. We're not going to discuss that, but that was awesome. Now I know that you said that you want to serve John Jones some humble pie, which is crazy because you're giving up some of your food. But
that's how you know he means it.
That's how he means it. Now is that on your mind at all? Are you still thinking about John Jones? Are you the kind of guy that does not think about the person past the guy you're fighting, or you're that confident you could think of him too?
No. I'm not thinking about John Jones right now. The only time John crosses my mind is when people ask questions about him. I'm focused on Dan Henderson, especially this week. If nobody asked a question about Jones all week, I would never say his name. He doesn't go across my thoughts or anything. My focus is Dan Henderson, man. I've got to get through this guy, and if I don't, everything that I hope and dream for, that Jones has, I never even get the opportunity to pursue it. It's gone. So I think we saw that with
Phil Davis.
With Phil, Phil was so wanting to beat John and got so worked up that he ended up losing to a guy that, we all thought he could beat.
Yeah, another guy that we all thought. I thought that King Mo was going to beat Rampage last week. I still think he won that fight. It was closer than I thought.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Man, I thought he won the fight. he scored. Third round he secured the takedown. He had top position for more than half of the round, and even when they were punching each other, they were kind of almost like it's not like Quentin was hitting him 3-4 times in a row to no responses from Mo. Like maybe Mo wasn't hitting them with the same sort of power, but they were just kind of trading shots. Like Quentin would land a punch and Mo would land a jab or something, and it was all like 1 for 1. So the most effective thing that happened in the round was him taking him down and actually controlling him on the ground. You got to remember, a guy doesn't want to lay on his back in the round for 2.5 minutes. He wants to get up. You're not allowing him to. So I thought he won that fight. It was pretty easy to call, actually.
Didn't you tell me at one point that Mo in practice like hit you in the face and you said it felt like his knuckle came through the glove?
That was a punch. He hits so hard. I guess he hits hard, man.
Yeah.
He hits really, really hard. One time he punched me and I felt like his knuckle came through the glove in practice.
I feel like with King Mo, it's a matter of he's one of those guys. I think also with Chael, there are certain guys that are so good in practice and they show it in some fights. They don't show it in all their fights, but the guys who train with them know how good they can be, which is why they get probably the most frustrated. Because I know that people who train with Chael say that they were picking him over John Jones because they're like, Chael beasts out in practice, he destroys everybody.
Oh yeah, consistency too. It's like consistency. You see guys just they'll look like world beaters in one fight, and the next fight they're not as dominant, or they don't seem as good. And if there's anything that I think Jones should be most proud of, what I'm most proud of, and guys like guys that have fought at the top of the sport for a long time, is just being so consistent. Jones, he barely ever loses any fashion of any fight. Anderson was like that for a long time.
GSP.
Even, John Fitch, when John Fitch was number 2 behind GSP, he never lost he wasn't losing any areas in any fight. So it's like, those are the guys that you kind of look to be like, and that's what I'm most proud of about my career. I just being so consistent over the course of 14 fights so far.
Yeah, no, I think somebody I think it was Kevin Aioli did an article about you, saying that you were probably the most perfect fighter based on, shots taken versus shots received and takedowns and
100% takedown defense, if I'm correct.
Just don't let it get to your head, man.
No, it's not getting to my head. It's something I strive to keep going. Like those things actually mean something to me. Like I like knowing that nobody's taking me down. I like that I don't get hit very much. I like that I win every round that I fight. So yeah, that means something to me.
I gotta ask you. That is awesome. I was watching your college match against Cael Sanderson for like the third time actually, and people don't know Cael Sanderson. He was 159-0 in college.
Jesus.
He was considered the best wrestler of all time.
That is ridiculous.
Along with Dan Gable, it's neck and neck. Who was the best? Some people say Cael. You were down 5-2 in the third period. You're down 5-2, which in itself is an amazing feat. You take him down. It's now 5-4 with a minute left. Now you in wrestling you can cut a guy, which means you let him up. He gets 1 point, then you would then try to take him down. It'd be 6-6 at that point. You cut him, but it was kind of a lazy cut, or something happened where he got you with the takedown, and it was so sad. And
so sad.
Now what goes through your head the rest of that time? How much do you relive that? How much do you replay that? Talk to me about that.
It was just sad, man. It was like the opportunity of a lifetime. I just pretty much gave it away. I mean, I'm not saying I would have beaten him, but I would have given myself a chance to actually be in the match. And I was lazy. I tried to let him go on the edge, and Cael never stopped wrestling. That's what made him so special. Even when we wrestled in practice afterwards, he would never stop wrestling. Every moment in the match, he was looking at the score, and I did that. I think back on it at times, but more than anything, I think the experience with Cael Sanderson is knowing that all year, for 2 years, I prepared to be the best that there was. And I think that's going to come into play later in my career when I fight Jones, because people think Jones is like that guy that's unbeatable. And I prepared for that guy for 2 years when I was a 20-year-old kid. That'll help me, as I prepare for this guy. The situation won't be new to me, fighting a uphill battle, So more than anything, I took the positive from that. Like, I've done this before. I've gone up against a guy that's supposed to be unbeaten, and I've taken him to task, So when it's me and Jones, I will it won't be brand new. You know, when he walks into the cage, he won't look bigger. You know, he won't look like, man, this is John Jones. You know, it'll be like, I've done this time and time again, and lost, and didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And every single time I trained harder and made myself better. So I apply that to my mixed martial arts career.
No, it was. I mean, honestly, and it shows because that you could have went either way. You could have been like that guy Ray Finkel, and from Ace Ventura, and that's all you think about. And then like you have like Cale Sanderson laces out things in your. So it shows, man. It shows what kind of a man you are, dude. And honestly,
thank you.
I had to ask you about. I debated whether I should bring this up because I'm like I don't want to. What if I get into his head now? That's what he's thinking about, and against Dan Henderson. I actually was like didn't want to, but I had to know. I had to. It was one of those things where I'm like, holy shit, man, this guy must have lived with this for a long time, and the fact that you're able to do what you do. Now we got to ask you a couple of questions. So against Cain Velasquez, how's he doing? How's his training? Are you still training with him? What's going on there?
He's doing good. He just got cleared by the doctors to train now. He's down in Vegas now, coaching Tough Latin America against Fabricio Verdun. So he's been gone for the last week. But, yeah, Cain's doing great, man. Cain filmed a big movie called Term Life with Vince Vaughn and the guy from Big Love and Mike Epps and a whole bunch of other people, Bill Paxton. So he filmed a big movie down in Atlanta when he was hurt, and then now he's down in Vegas coaching the show. So yeah, he's busy, So I'm going to see him next week, and he'll be at the fight, So
I know you're going to be coaching as well.
I'm going to go and help a little bit as I can. I just have a lot of responsibility now. I can't stay for 7 weeks to help coach, but I'll go in and out as much as I can and try and help. It's a team thing. A lot of times when these guys get these shows, it's those guys, but a lot of it also falls on his team because it's the team's opportunity to show how they're developing champions out of their gym. So at least that's the approach we take at AK. We did it with Koscheck, and now we're doing it with Cain. Like Rocco's down there with him now for the last 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna pop in, and Josh Thompson's gonna pop in. So you try to use all your tools to try and help the team be successful.
Now, are you going to be surprised if you look across from Dan Hendo during the fight and he's drinking prune juice?
I'd be very surprised. Dan's a young 42 years old, man. 40s in his 20s. He's like a baby.
Okay, that was a question. I was
He's sponsored by Depends. That's one of his new sponsors.
Yes.
Oh my God, you guys are horrible.
Yeah,
you guys are terrible.
I'm happy that you lost the weight though, because otherwise you have to watch out for the right hand as well as what's it called again when you have too much sugar?
Diabetes.
Diabetes. I screwed up the joke. I screwed up my own joke. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word diabetes. I got nervous, man. I fucking choked. Now, all right. No. We do have a question though from Cali Kush on the Underground. He wants to hear Khabib's training stories from Cormier.
How Khabib trains?
Yeah, does Khabib bring it? Does he bring in a bear?
No, he doesn't. He just that dude's a machine, bro. Like he works harder than just about anybody I've ever seen. Honestly, he tries. His English is getting better, and he tries to keep up with the jokes, but he usually gets mad at us because we're American, man. We make some pretty inappropriate jokes, and they don't do that in Russia. So Khabib fits in, and he's just like he wants to work hard. He doesn't like all the merrymaking. He said that there's a lot of merrymaking whenever I'm around.
What's a merrymaking? What does that mean?
Everybody laughing at his expense.
Idea, bro.
Oh, wait.
Laughing and joking.
Wait, so what kind of jokes do you guys do about towards Khabib?
We don't. There's just things that we say, like if you're being the son of a bitch, I'll be like, Adam, my God, you're a son of a bitch. Well, they don't say stuff like that in Russia. They say that it's almost like talking about his mom, I guess. So a lot of times we overstep the lines in Khabib just due to lack of
so he thinks he's really a son of a bitch. Oh man, he gets upset about that. Gotcha.
Well, he gets right in your face too. He's not fucking a person. Bro, what do you mean this? Why? Tell this.
Why you say this about my mother,
why
bro?
Do you say? He's like, why do you say this? Like, we are all brothers. Like, Khabib, just calm down, dude. We're fucking joking. Like, put your ass.
That's great. That's great, man.
Yeah, it's funny, man. But he works hard. He's a future champion, man. I mean, that dude he's big, he's strong, he's got great cardio, he can wrestle, his grappling's on point. He doesn't miss any round of anything, you know. So we love having him. We've had him for over a year now, and obviously he's undefeated, like 23-0. It's insane.
Jesus, do you spar with him often?
No, not very much. He's small, you know. But we do stuff in the red room where it's just like really light. We've never sparred hard, you know, but him and I spar in the red room where it's real light, and I try to hit him, you know, I try to jab him, because if I can jab him a few times, I make fun of him, then he has to move his head, you know. So,
Right.
we try to help him, man. He's a good fighter and he works hard. So anytime we get people like that the young guys that work hard, they're committed, we all try to give them as much advice and as much help as we can.
How's Gray Maynard doing?
He's doing pretty good, man. Gray hasn't been there for a while, you know. Since his last fight, Gray had built a new house in Santa Cruz, and then he's been training out in Vegas. I think he's been training out in Arizona with Power MMA. So he's been kind of moving around a little bit. We see him on wrestling days at times, but that's pretty much it. He hasn't been around as much as he used to be.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy, a perfect example of what I was trying to say before, of a guy who I heard in practice is just a beast, and then, you know, his last couple fights hasn't really kind of it hasn't gone the way he would like it.
I think the break that Gray's taken now is going to help him a lot, because it'll give him some time to recover and just reassess how he wants to approach his fights. You know, that'll be good for him.
Your whole team, man. I mean, your whole team's really it's quite a team over there. I mean, between Maynard, between you and Kane, and then Josh Thompson. What do you think about Josh's chances of getting a title?
It'll be good, man. You know, he's got that fight against Michael Johnson in July, which I think should just put him right back in the mix. You know, because his fight with Benson was so controversial. It's not like he lost a clear-cut decision. Josh broke his hand in the first round of that fight. He lost a split decision to a guy that held the belt for 2 years. So that just goes to show you how close Josh is to the best guys in the weight division. Dude's a stud, man. For a long time, he's been a stud, too.
Yeah.
His fight against Melendez the same night that you fought Garnett was incredible, too.
Nuts. Every time. Him and Joe Melendez, no matter how many times they fight, they'll give you gold.
Yeah. Josh came to one of my shows. He's cool as hell.
Oh, yeah,
but he's definitely the man. Like, when Josh enters a room, you know he's in the room.
Right.
He's just like, he's a very alpha male guy. You know, he's just like that dude.
Yeah, he takes over.
Absolutely.
He takes over.
He's a good dude. Well, listen, DC, man, all of luck to you, man. Best of luck to you. I really, really hope you win. I'm going to be rooting for you, and I really think you're going to get the belt, man.
He is.
I do.
I stake my reputation on it.
There's
Not
only
that
two
means
people that I've
anything.
been more confident with, you and Chris. I told Dana White Chris Weidman was going to be champion way before he was champion. I was right about that, and I'm telling you, you're going to be the guy. You're going to beat Henderson. You're then going to beat John Jones. Then you and Kane are going to have some kind of weird rivalry. You're going to fight, and then you're going to beat Kane. You're going to be the heavyweight champion and the 205 champion, and then down to 185.
Mark my words on this. He's going to beat Hendo, then they're going to set up the fight with John Jones, and something's going to happen where John Jones has to push the fight out again.
Really?
I guarantee that's going to happen. He's going to get an injury, or something's going to happen where he's like, he can't
You
fight.
better be careful before John gets after your ass again.
Man, I
Don't
don't
forget.
care. I'm digging his ribs with these right hooks.
People, it's like I said, people are jumping off the bandwagon because Jones is driving it. And so yeah. By the way, okay. So anyway, that's the show. Daniel Cormier, man, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Hey, Daniel, I got one more bone to pick with you before we hang up.
All right, bro, what's up?
You always say that when you come to town, we're going to do dinner or hang out, right? Last time you gave me a call a half hour before you wanted me to meet you in like Marina Del Rey. You're like, hey, man, meet me at Fogo de Chao in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? In a half hour?
I've got to give you some advance warning, bro. I mean, I'm just not the best planner.
Meet me in a half
I'm
hour.
not very good at planning, bro. Like, seriously.
Meet me in a half hour, 60 miles from your house in traffic.
Oh man.
I'll give you about 45 minutes to an hour next time, okay?
I appreciate that, man. You're the best.
And I'll make sure to call you at 4. I'll make sure to call you at like 4:15 in the afternoon.
There
Hey,
you-
meet me at 5 in the heart of LA.
That's right.
Well, take care, man.
All right, boys. Thank you.
Later,
Bye-bye.
DC. Lotus Flower Bomb.
All right. Well, that was Daniel Cormier. I can't wait to watch this
I love
fight.
that dude,
I
man.
hope he
He-
wins, man. I'm a little nervous only because Hendo's got nothing to lose. You know, he's got nothing to lose
except his hip.
His dentures. Yeah, exactly. But I don't. I
What's
think
jacked up is I'm older than that guy, and I'm making jokes about how old he is.
yeah, because it's funny though.
It is funny.
You know, it's not only that he's old; he's just been around for so long. You know,
Super cool guy though.
super cool, down to earth. I think he'd be laughing at these jokes too. Hopefully,
Yeah.
if you could hear him.
If he turns up his sonic ear.
Hello?
Oh shit! He answered the phone, son.
Oh my god, this is amazing. This is like I can't believe it. Is this really him?
We have to go. We have to play the lottery today. It's gonna happen.
I gotta buy a ticket.
You like, God damn it, look at this again? You like Houdini.
Oh man, Gordon. All right, so we got the future UFC champion. The guy fighting John Jones for the title in what will probably be the biggest UFC event in a long time. I can't wait for it. I'm on the edge of my seat. Daniel Cormier, how are you? Hello. Hello.
Tell me he didn't hang up.
I'm doing.
Oh man.
Hey, listen. I had to mute it. And pretend that we dropped the call, you know, because how good would it be for all these dropping and not having to get it? It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Dude. Oh man. So how are you, man? How's everything going? That would have been really funny.
And go ahead and call it the biggest UFC event of all time. Let's just start calling it that, and hopefully people believe it, and then everybody buys it still.
It's the truth, though.
All right. Okay. The biggest UFC of all time. Hey, pussy, are you still there? So, it's gonna be.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, pussy, are you there?
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Todd, and I'm all, yeah, I'm here. Like, stupid, Daniel, what are you doing?
What a dick.
No, but then I answer. I mean, yeah, hi.
I know. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, he did get you there. I have to admit, but
Hey, but Daniel, I loved how you said you wanted to spit in his face. He's like, "Oh, I wish I could come next door and just spit in your fucking face." I was like, "Yeah, Daniel."
Yeah, at that point, we were just kind of. Yeah, at that point, it had just kind of went way left.
no, but it was
Yeah. At that point, it had just went way left.
But it was good though, seeing. I mean, that was released in a way because it showed how fake. I mean, the guy is worse than Brittany Palmer's breasts. It's ridiculous.
It's not even just that. I think at a point, like when you saw that on his side, and it was just like a lot of times you don't always get 100% of who a person is, just always watching them on interviews and everything, and you get what we really give you. And I think for the first time, I mean, obviously, it wasn't that we were fighting on the middle of the grand. We're going to answer for that. But just to see genuine, unfiltered, two guys kind of ripping into each other, that was kind of refreshing, I would think,
No, it was crazy. I mean, he was like, "I will literally kill you," and you're like, "What? What do you think I'm gonna do? Just sit there?" And I mean, it was. I was out of responses at that point. I wish I had a quick mind like Adam Hunter because it would have been something a little more creative. Nah, you were fine. I mean, if me and Todd said it, no one would actually believe us. But but with you, I mean, it was. I can't wait for the fight. Now, I mean, that whole press conference, right? When he pushed you, or when you pushed him back, and then he kind of went in for that double. It was like three different guys tackling you, right? I mean, did you fall backwards? Explain to me, because I watched it a billion times, but I can't really. I wasn't there, so please tell us what happened.
It's actually pretty embarrassing the way it happened, because when we were going into this whole thing and he was trying to hit me, I was down low, so I saw his legs.
So I tried to grab his legs, but the security guard was in between us somehow. So I ended up falling on top of the security guard. And when I looked back, Jones was on top of the stage about to jump off on top of me, which was actually pretty scary because now my back's towards him and he's mad, So I was like, oh, man, this ain't good. Well, somehow I ended up getting on my back to where he was actually able to kind of almost in my guard. I was able to grab his head and kind of hold him close so that he couldn't hit me like he wanted to. At the very end, he kind of postured up and tried to punch me. So, yeah, it was crazy. What the craziest thing about it is that I haven't really watched it. Obviously we saw it when we were doing all the interviews and stuff, but all this stuff I remember so vividly. Like, it was just like everything was going so slow. Like, I was like, man, I can see just people around me. Like, I could see and feel just people around me. I was like, man, this is crazy. How slow everything seemed to be going whenever that whole thing was happening.
Right. I didn't like the way people were trying to say that specific incident was going to be bad for the sport, although I will say that you've seen people shoving back and forth before at weigh-ins, but the fact that John Jones actually threw a punch, I think, was probably the first time I ever saw a punch thrown at one of those things. And to me, that just says that you're in his head like no one's been before.
Mm-hmm.
I think, honestly, when Nick Diaz and BJ Penn went forehead to forehead, they were kind of like moving each other's heads.
Right.
Right as Dana was pulling them away, right, Nick was going to slap him. Nick tried to slap him, but then just barely moved BJ out of the way of him getting smacked. So guys try to hit each other in that situation. It just doesn't happen. They're a little faster with stopping it normally, I guess.
Now, when you get home that night and it's all over the news, what does your wife say to you?
She was actually there. So she just said, I can't believe that nobody thought anything would happen after how this has festered for so long.
Yeah.
Like,
You don't want Selena mad at anybody.
Yeah. By the way,
I know.
and by the way, congratulations on getting engaged, man. That's pretty amazing.
About damn time, son.
I know, man. Thank y'all, man. I appreciate it, man. I should have did it a long time ago, but it just sometimes, you just have to. Sometimes you just have to make a decision, and we made the decision we did. And now we're trying to find a day to get married.
Well, that was the only reason that I was actually happy that fight got postponed, because I was worried that, like, once you got engaged, you'd have all these second thoughts. You'd be thinking about that, and what if she stops, hooking you up and stuff with, sexual things, and so I was actually this way you don't have to worry about any of that.
Well, you know what, man? I never worry about how I'm going to perform when I get to the octagon. She's a good woman. She doesn't want me to. She doesn't want me to lose because she doesn't want me to make less money. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah. Now, obviously Jones has a huge reach advantage, and you have a waist advantage. How are you going to deal with this big reach advantage that he has?
I mean, I just have to fight like I always do, man. I just got to pressure him, and I haven't really had trouble with people with reach before, so I'm just going to fight like I used to. And then the thing about John is I just got to get him fighting with me. I need him to fight with me. I can't play pity-pat with him on the outside. If I do that, I'm going to lose. I mean, that's common knowledge. I got to get him fighting with me. And the moment I can do that, I can ensure success. And how do I do that? By just pressuring him and making him fight, Got to get in his face and make him fight. I mean,
who are the guys that you're bringing in to kind of help you? You're bringing in Phil Davis, right?
Phil Davis came in and trained. He's going to help me as we move forward, as I'll help him prepare for Glover Teixeira. Cyril Diabate is a striker from overseas that used to fight in the UFC, like 6'6". Mm-hmm. Really good kickboxer.
But majority of the time, I'm just training my guys, man. Luke King, I don't think that you have to change anything that needs to be changed. They prepared me for tall guys like Josh Barnett and Foot Silver. They prepared me for Jeff Munson. They prepared me for tallest guys that I've faced, shortest guys that I've faced, and it's always been good enough. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna run my team. I got two of the best guys in the world that I can train with day to day, and nobody that he can train with can beat the two guys that I train with. So
Yeah, no.
I'll my guys.
Although I was a little concerned about Kane, though, 'cause I saw a picture of him recently, and it looks like instead of brown pride, he should have brownie pride, because it looked like he's put on some pounds.
That's the danger in a guy Kane and me. Whenever we're injured, we don't fight for a long time. We just gotta eat, hang out. You know what I mean? We like to eat. So working hard enough to get back in shape and be prepared for fight night.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is probably in the last 3 months since we went to the Ultimate Fighter to do Latin America. That might be the first picture he took with a T-shirt, and then it got all over the stupid internet. Because he's a winner. He's like, I'm not in shape, but he goes, when am I ever going to have a six-pack? He goes, when am I ever going to have a six-pack? I go, yeah, it doesn't matter. I go, you'll be in shape and ready to fight. And he's like, I know. So, Adam.
Yeah.
Make fun of Cain Velasquez, but put a man in that cage with him that can beat him.
Oh, no, I'm not.
That's my. Whenever people say that, because I got that on Twitter. Oh, you look like this compared to Cain. I go, hey, put a man in there that can beat him. What do? We fight, right? We're not going in there standing in the middle with a referee and we start posing. You take your shirt off, I start posing. You start posing. Hey, if that's what we were doing, Cain and I would be two of the worst fighters in the UFC.
No, man.
Don't start posing. We get in there and we fight. That's why we're two.
Personally, I think that you're the number 1 205 pounder. You'd be the number 2 heavyweight. I mean, I don't know what happens to you and Kane. You might be the number 1 heavyweight, but I know you guys are best friends and would never fight. So I think you guys are the 2 baddest men on the planet, especially in your weight class. And it was just a joke, but
Well, but I mean, we've been getting that. Don't see his Instagram and Twitter, so I can only imagine what you get from these fans. So I get it, and that's not even me. So. But whatever. People are who they are, and they are how they are. So, show me a man that can beat that guy, and then maybe he'll change what's been genetically given to him his entire life because he's looked the exact same.
Yeah. Well, the thing I like about you guys also is that you guys aren't the most physically gifted people out there, but you guys work your asses off. And you're so much tougher than these guys, and that's what I respect the most. It's not like when I look at your body type, I'm like, okay, even when I stood next to you, I'm like, Cormier is not a huge guy, but you work your fucking ass off, and that's what makes you so good. And same with Cain Velasquez. I mean, you look at what he did to Brock Lesnar. Not saying that Brock didn't work hard, but if you look at Brock's body compared to Kane's, you'd say Brock's going to win that fight, and Cain just obliterated that guy, within minutes. So
Brock, Santos, Bigfoot Silva, they all look so ripped up, but then when he's done with them, it's like, man. But I like to say, we're a couple durable station wagons, Ford F-150s,
Country Squire.
Yeah, we're a couple farm. We're a couple machines you'll find on the farm. Built for durability and for toughness, and we're not speed cars. We're not sexy car like Todd Rex. Todd Rex is a sexy car.
No, the 3 biggest.
Todd Rex and I went to an award show, and my cousin had this slick black suit on. He was like, "Man, this dude look like he's in the Men in Black," and I look like I'm someone's usher.
I did, dude. I look so terrible in a suit, man. I look like a cadaver.
He looks like an actual usher, not usher, an actual usher.
Not like it's not. Todd looks like he should be opening the door whenever everybody. Your seat's over there.
Let me take you to your seat.
Right.
No, I'm telling you.
I miss Todd Rex. This guy does not call me anymore. We were good friends.
Oh, come on, son. You don't answer your phone anymore.
Wow.
Todd,
Yes.
I'll be crazy. I answer my phone.
You don't answer your phone anymore, man.
I do, man, all the time. I just was sick last week. You guys, I was on my deathbed, boys.
I heard you.
I was on my death. I was hurting bad, boys. And I felt terrible about it, too.
Nah, man, it's all, your health is the most important.
Daniel, it's Jake Ellenberger, man. I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. Looked up to you in the.
Whoa, guys, what is this?
What's up?
What is this? So Ellenberger's just sitting there with the mute button.
I can't even. No, hey, I can't even get a word in, man. It's just I've been listening. These guys are talking.
Guys, I don't get a warning that the juggernaut's on the phone too. You're just like gonna let him creep up under me behind me.
No, man, I've been here the whole time. I just haven't been able to talk yet. So.
What's up, Jake?
Not much, man. It's funny. I've been a big fan of you for a long time in the wrestling world. It's funny because actually King Mo is one of the first people that told me about you, and I started watching you. This is before MMA, but he was like, he's the man. If he goes into MMA, he's gonna destroy the world. And I was like, ever since then, I was like, I gotta watch. I was like, be on YouTube watching Daniel Cormier wrestle. Like, it's so awesome. You know, going back watching him wrestle Cael Sanderson. I mean, some of the most epic wrestling matches I've ever seen from Cormier. So I've always been a huge fan.
As far as him being a heavyweight champion against Cain Velasquez, when I first started sponsoring Daniel back in the day, and I was talking to Dwayne was like, Daniel's seriously the only guy in the gym that gives Cain fits, that can handle Cain like on a regular basis.
Yeah, no, Dan's dude, I'm telling you, when you threw around Dan Henderson,
Jesus.
He hasn't been throwing like that since Noah's Ark. I mean, he was you were throwing,
Tossed him like a child.
Yesterday I tried to be a handful for Kane, and I went 2 rounds and I could crawl out of the cage. I was like, They're like, well, DC is supposed to do 3 rounds. I was like, I'm done. He seemed like he was just getting started. I was exhausted. I was like, I'm out of here, boys. They said, what do you mean? Who's going to go through that 3rd round? I go, put Bob in there. I stuck Bob in there. I'm so touched that I stuck Bob in there with Cain Velasquez because I was tired.
That's hilarious.
I said, boys, I'm just getting over the flu. There's no way I'm going to stand across the cage from this dude for another 5 minutes.
well, it's probably good the fight got postponed. I mean, if you had the flu, right? I mean, that could have messed up your whole camp.
Well, not even that, Adam. Like, I'll be completely honest with you, man. Whenever I heard the fight got postponed, I asked Lorenzo if I was still going to get the fight. Because, with the whole Gustafsson situation and, I was worried, man. So when he told me, no, this is the fight we're keeping together, honestly, man, I was actually kind of happy because I had been training and I had been working, and I heard about this fight only at 9 weeks out. And so I immediately started training, but I had a family trip down to Mexico planned for my little brother. And I took a partner down there and I trained, but I was running and I was working out, but it wasn't with guys like Cain, and it wasn't with anyone that could actually compete, So even when I got home, Cain was gone doing some promotional stuff. Rocco's been injured with his foot. So I was going with guys in the gym that weren't necessarily able to compete with me. Well, Phil Davis came in, and Phil and I sparred 3 rounds hard, and I was tired. I was like, man, I've got 6 weeks to get in shape to go 2 more rounds with the best fighter in the world. I was like, man, I might actually be in a little trouble here because I didn't know if I had enough time to get prepared to go 5 rounds as hard as I'm going to need to go against the John Jones. So, to be honest with you boys, once I realized that I was still getting this fight, I was actually kind of happy because now I've already started working out. I've got September, October, November, December. I've got 4 months to prepare for John Jones, so I can work to those 9 weeks. I can work 5 weeks, 6 weeks to get to those 9 weeks before I actually have to start really kicking it into high gear for training camp.
So, did you were you already starting your peak when he pulled out? Like, did it kind of mess your timing up?
But see, Todd, there was no going into your peak. It was grind. I'm 35, so honestly, if he wouldn't have gotten hurt, I probably would have because I was trying to go so hard, so fast to get in shape. Because, dude, since I fought Dan Henderson, I had done in the gym, honestly, 6 times, because I was doing the TV thing and then Chael got fired, so I got all of his jobs. And I was just super busy, just super busy with TV. I was gaining so much weight, and I was spending too much time behind the desk. I was doing a show called UFC Now in Burbank on Tuesdays. I would do UFC Tonight sometimes on Wednesdays. Then I would do the weigh-in and post-fight shows on Friday, Saturday, and then come home Sunday. So some days I was spending 5 days in LA just doing TV, So, and honestly, not training when I wasn't. So Selena and I would go down with the kids. I would work Tuesday morning, be off all day, all afternoon Tuesday, work all day Wednesday, have a day off on Thursday. Shoot, we'll go to Disneyland or something, eat some turkey legs, go work Friday, Saturday, hit Disneyland up Sunday, go back home to San Jose on Monday, and then go back to LA midweek. So it was just a little much. I wasn't really training.
Wow.
Do you think that John really got hurt, or he was trying to mess with you?
I believe he got hurt, man. Just think about it, Adam. If you're going to fight a guy that you genuinely dislike, and he said it himself, he goes, sometimes there are guys where losing is just not an option. That's Chael Sonnen, the Rashad Evans situation, and obviously me. Gustafsson, too. He'll want to work hard and be prepared. But if he was to fight me, or if I was to fight him, and I was the champion, and he had only 8 to 10 weeks to train, that's ideal for me. That's not sufficient prep time for a 5-round title fight. It can be done, but you're not going to get the same man in January that you would have got on September 27th. I would have fought hard, Adam. I would have fought as hard as my body would have let me, and I would have went as hard as I could, and I would have won. But on January 3rd, I'm going to be able to go way harder.
Now,
and honestly make it look easy.
Now, when
John's in trouble.
When you fought Henderson, I remember in that 3rd round, your corner told you, you got to fight this guy, Daniel. Was there a party that didn't want to beat him up?
No, that wasn't me. He never had to tell me to fight him. That was his corner telling him to fight because they figured he couldn't get any offense off. That wasn't me. I didn't feel bad for him because if he would have hit me, he would have knocked me out and not felt bad for a second, So I was fighting to win that fight. And I was dominating the fight, so I was going to continue to do what I was doing. I would have fought him as long as they would have told me I had to fight him. I respect Dan Henderson so much that for me not to have given him, for me not to have given him 110% would have been disrespectful to him in a way.
Right.
Because I think Dan Henderson's great, so he needed to get the best Daniel Cormier, or that would be unfair to him, and that's what he got. I thought I fought well. I've never had a fight like that because I never really wrestle that much in my fights. I normally try to stand and I do other things. Whereas this time I actually had my focus was actually my wrestling and my ground game.
Those are some of the craziest throws I've ever seen. Now, I remember in Bloodsport, when Van Damme was training, they threw sand in his eyes to get him ready for being blind. I know that John Jones pokes a lot of people. Are you training? Are they throwing sand in your eyes during practice, or having you train with eye patches?
Hey, bro, can I say something though?
Sure.
I think there was actually sand in the cage. I don't know what that was, but I had so much sand and shit in my hair after the fight. So I don't know. Maybe Dan got sand in his face because, dude, it was everywhere. It was all over my body. It was all over my hair. My hair was full of sand. Jake, you fought since. Jake, you fought the same night as me. Did you feel that?
In the octagon?
Yeah, on the ground.
It was a little rough. Yeah.
You think there was sand on Dan's feet from crossing the desert with Moses?
What was it, Jake? Seriously, what was that?
No, I don't know. I really don't know, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
I was like, what is that? It was like there was sand or something with that grainy inside of on the floor.
It wasn't the ash from your elbows?
Oh, come on.
It could have been. Or it could have been my toenails popping off as I was kicking stuff.
No, but I'm saying, John Jones is known to poke a lot of people in the eyes. I mean, I mean, right? Like we said on the show, he's poked more men than Anderson Cooper.
Oh,
Than Anderson Cooper.
Oh, and he can take a dick but can't take a joke?
Oh, so
Oh shit!
I mean, aren't you a little concerned about being poked?
You know what, man? I always say that John is doing that, trying to gauge range and distance. So, I mean, you know, what's going to happen? You know, you lose a fight because someone pokes you in the eye. That's not why John Jones beats these guys. He beats these guys because he's better than them, not because he pokes them in the eye. Am I concerned about it? I'm kind of having fun with it. I mean, if you didn't, you know, we did a little video a while back, me and Luke Rockhold and Phil Davis, about the eye pokes, but, you know, it's all in fun, man. I'm not going to spend time and energy worrying about him poking me in the eye when I can be getting better. You know what I mean? Right. My whole focus and my whole goal in the next 4 months is to be the best Daniel Cormier that I can be when I step into the cage, because phony, fake, whatever you want to call him, you know, he's a champion, and he's probably the best champion we've ever had, probably the greatest fighter the UFC's ever had. Is he the best mixed martial artist that we've ever seen? Probably not in terms of just skill, but in terms of how he competes in the octagon, I don't think anybody's ever done it better. So my focus is to just get better to where I can go out there and beat this dude up. And not even, I don't want it to be close. I don't want to be standing in the middle of the cage at the end of the fifth round with my heart thumping through my chest. I want to know that the announcer's going to scream that I'm the new champion. You know, just walk to the center confident, knowing that I'm going to be the new champion.
Well, look, man, you're a guy who's been through so much. I'm not even going to get into it right now because I don't want to. We talked about this in other podcasts, but you've been through so much, and I got so much respect for you, and you're such a nice guy. I don't even know if you remember this. You were the guy, you asked my girlfriend at the time. She was a little Asian girl. You're with your cousin, and you're like, "Hey, can you take a picture of me and my cousin?" And then she looked at you, and you were like, you're actually scaring me right now." She was like, and then she told me that, and I'm like, "That guy was scared of you?" I'm like, "That's how big of a bitch you are. Well, you're scaring the bad." No, I'm kidding, but I'm saying so. It was.
She actually was like, she didn't want to do it. She was like, "I'm not taking a picture of you." Tell me, and I felt kind of like, "Oh my god."
So, but it just shows you how polite and how nice you are. You're such a great guy, man. Now, have you switched?
Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Huh?
Have you switched deodorant?
Dude, let me tell you something. My deodorant failed me miserably, but it's not my fault. It's Selena's fault. It is Selena's fault, and I am so glad you brought that up, Adam. It wasn't even like it wasn't a pit stain. It went from my armpit to my belt. The thing was longer. It was longer. I was like, man, it's hot up in here. I was sitting there doing the interviews, like, it's kind of hot, you know. That was kind of heavy, you know. I was like, man, it's real hot up in here. And then when I got up and saw those pictures, I was like, holy cow, why didn't someone say that I was dripping sweat down my side on my T-shirt? Now, I'm going to bury this deodorant company. It's called Tom's. The same, I guess.
Tom's?
It's called
You use Tom's, the same
Tom's
toothpaste people?
The guy from MySpace?
Tom's. It's Tom's deodorant.
Isn't he from
my
Maine?
Girl, Selena got into this whole, well, we can't use Crest or any of that because they're putting something in the toothpaste. Don't use
it's called
this
products that you need.
Bro, she's reading too much internet, bro, so everything's organic and shit. Hey, I go, hey, I need something that says sport on it. Organic stuff does not work for a big guy like me. What are you doing? I said, see what you did? Do you see what you did?
Oh, man. Now, people on the underground, they call you the Black Fedor, and they want to know if you actually enjoy that nickname or you don't like it.
I think it's fine, man. You know, I mean, anytime you get compared to the greatest heavyweight of all time, it's awesome. You know, I mean, at this point, Fedor Emelianenko still won, 28 or 30 fights in a row. He was the man. You know, I think he was the greatest heavyweight of all time in his era, and still to this day, I believe that Kane's going to pass him. But for what he was, yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I think that's a huge compliment.
Cool. And now, I mean, it's just, I think that also there's a maturity factor between Daniel. I mean, you don't see Cormier going on people's Twitters and Instagram and calling them names, then deleting it 3 seconds later.
And then it got hacked.
And then claiming he got hacked and this and that. There's a certain, I think, lifestyle of that John has and the people around him. He's got all these yes men telling him what he wants to hear, where it just seems like Dan, you don't have those distractions. You don't have that whole thing around you. You don't believe your own hype. and I think that's gonna help you. I mean, I would assume.
Well,
I hope so.
Well, I mean, it's just, John's young. He's a younger guy. Had all the success in the world at a very young age. Mm-hmm. And you know what else, man? Like, people, he's a big deal, man. These guys, they don't do these interviews very often. Like, I'll sit and do an interview with you guys when I don't even have a fight. They don't really do that. Kane doesn't do that very often either. For the champions, they don't. So when they come around, it's a big deal. So everybody around them is so excited. And it brings excitement. And when that's how people respond to you all the time, how can you not kind of start to buy into that? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think it's a lot of reasons and factors why John behaves the way that he does. Whatever.
Well, it's good. Well,
I can only be.
It's nice
I care about, this whole thing is bad because at some point we're going to have to explain that to our kids. And that's what I'm not very happy about.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like your kids know. Wasn't your kid super excited? Like, yeah, my dad's going to be the champion, right? Didn't Dana say that?
Yeah, that was cool. My daughter's like mumbling that. She can barely speak it, but she's like, I was like, Kiki, I'm going to be the champion. And she's like, my dad's a champion. My dad's going to be a champion. She kept saying it for like a day and a half. And I was like, get all teary-eyed every time.
That's awesome.
Every time.
That's awesome. I need to get a daughter just for that.
Lotus flower bomb.
I want to have a kid so I can hear that.
Hey, Lotus. Listen.
What's up?
Okay, so you just for future shows, you can't have Ellenberger just sleeping in the back. He's on the show. Hey, listen. It's cool that he's on the show, and every now and again he'll make his presence felt. But you can't have the juggernaut just sleeping in the back, boys. You gotta get him involved.
Sleeping in the back.
Talk to Jake.
Jake, do you have any questions for?
I have so many questions.
Let's hear 'em.
Thank you. Can I talk, Adam?
Yeah, please.
No, I'm
do.
joking. It's been great. We really don't have enough time as much as we'd
come
like.
on, we have time. Let's hear the questions.
I mean, like, I'm talking about enough time for the interview. We're wrapping up anyway.
No, we're not wrapping up. I want to hear your questions for Cormier.
Hey, Jake, don't fall for it, Jake. They're going to let you ask, and they're going to say, we're out of time, DC. Thanks for joining us. I'm looking at the clock.
Come on, Jake,
Jake,
seriously.
Don't let them do it to you, Jake. There's only 2 minutes left in the show, bro.
All right. Okay,
Seconds out.
Daniel, it's been 8 months, and Jake has not been laid yet.
Oh, come on.
Do you have any, honestly, every week we come in here, we go, how was your weekend? You get any puss?
No, Jake has a smoking hot girlfriend. I've seen her before. You kidding me?
Who's this
What are
girlfriend?
you talking about? Jake's girlfriend's beautiful.
Who is this? Who are you talking about?
Jake, just don't tell him. Leave him wanting to know, Jake. Don't ever give him everything.
I've never talked about females on the show, so they're assuming I'm a virgin, and that's kind of the ongoing joke right now. So Jake doesn't go out and Jake doesn't get laid.
Jake, don't give him everything, Jake. That's what you do. You got to keep him wanting more. I've done it to Todd Rex, like where I've told him half of a story. He go, I'll tell you the rest later, and then he'll ask me like hours later, like, hey, you forgot to tell me the rest of that story. I'm like, no, I didn't. He's like, what do you mean you didn't? I'm like, I didn't forget to tell you. And then I just kind of walk away. It's like, you got to leave him wanting a little bit more, Jake. I'm telling you, don't give him, especially not these two jokers.
Oh, that's great.
So what happened with Khabib?
It was. Oh, man. Did you guys see Khabib? Khabib's like, hi, brother. This is my, he called me the other day. Hi, brother. I go, what's up, Khabib? I go, what's wrong? What's wrong, my brother? He goes, my leg, I hurt my knee, my LCA. I said, what? He goes, I tear my LCA. I said, what is an LCA, Khabib? I go, you know that doesn't exist, right? That is not a ligament in your knee. It's an ACL. Oh, yes, brother, ACL. He goes, I weigh 195 pounds. I said, oh, my goodness. He's a monster, dude.
Wow.
He is a monster, bro.
Wow.
The moment they give that kid a title shot, he's going to just pick up people and just slam them down. He smothers them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what he did to Dos Anjos. I mean, he's...
Bro, he's a monster, bro. He is a monster. And he's always in such phenomenal shape. He never gets tired.
Do you think he wins the belt at 155?
I do, honestly. I was talking to my manager the other day, Bob Cook. And Bob was just like, he doesn't manage Khabib. Khabib's one of the guys that comes into our gym during training camp. And he's just like, man, he goes, he's just a handful for everybody because once he grabs you, he just kind of smothers you. Like, he's so big, he's so strong, and he's in great shape. So it's like, by the end of the third round against Dos Anjos could hardly he eventually started playing the guard because he couldn't get up. He would just keep getting thrown down. And then that Abel Trujillo, who's knocking everybody out, Khabib took him down 23 times.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's crazy. Think about how good Abel is. Now Jake has a fight against Kelvin Gastelum coming up. Do you have any advice? Do you have any advice for Jake?
Mexico.
I'm gonna be there at the event. He's a big strong kid. He's improving daily. I just think that right now, Ellenberger at this point in his career has seen way too much a different level of opponent. I mean, Jake's fought, Rory. Jake's fought Robbie Lawler. Jake's fought everybody.
Shields.
So Jake Shields. So I think the level of competition is going to carry Jake in this fight. But Jake, I got to tell you one thing, bud. Use your wrestling. Don't get in no striking battle with these dudes, man. For what?
Didn't we tell him that the last fight?
Every week.
Told you.
Every day.
Jake, whenever they don't have the wrestling to fear, there's confidence in just knowing that there is no wrestling to fear. That's why I can fight the way I fight every time, because I know there's no wrestling to fear against any of these dudes. So use your wrestling, man. Just mix it up, and if you do that, I think you'll be fine.
All right. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No worries.
Words of wisdom from the champ.
Any dating advice for him? Use your wrestling.
Use your wrestling. Chloroform and wrestling.
Wrestlers are known to have great hips, so Jake's fine.
Listen,
Jake's fine.
That's a distraction. I don't need that right now. My days are completely filled as it is.
No more naked parties?
Jake, don't tell him that. Jake, don't be so... He's so cute. Adam's so cute, isn't he?
He's adorable. He's got that butt chin. Sometimes, I can see why guys want to put it in there. Listen,
oh my God.
So, those kind of guys. All right, listen.
Hold on a second, guys. Where are you going? Okay, is she up there? Yes, she's up there. Okay. Hey, I got the, hold on a second. I got the picture read. But it's in my, I'll bring up. It's in my...
He knows we're...
It's a great best podcast ever. You could hear Daniel Cormier ordering food right now. I'll have six big ribs.
Okay.
19
Original recipe.
4 shakes. What are you doing?
Hey,
We just ordering some original recipe.
No, I was actually given this guy that I know has he owns like a video company, and he goes on tour with these rock and roll bands and these country bands and stuff. And one of the guys that's like in this band, I can't remember what band it is. Maybe it's like Big and Rich or something, like the country band.
Yeah.
And the guy's like a big fan, so he wanted like an autographed picture. His wife carpools with a lady that trains at our gym, so I was bringing the photograph.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Always about the fans.
Such a nice guy. He's like, hold on one sec. There's a cat in the tree right now. Yeah, I was just saving a tree. Hold on one sec. There's an old lady about to get hit by a truck. Hey,
I got her.
Yeah, such a good dude.
Hey, let me ask you guys a question though.
Sure.
We're doing UFC on FX8, and Thursday afternoon, Rashad Evans and I are done, and Michael Bisping. We're done at 5 p.m. Any of you boys doing anything funny on Thursday night, comedy show or anything that you can invite us to?
Absolutely.
No?
Yes.
You
Yes.
want to invite us to? Okay,
Yes.
Invite me to your comedy show, please.
Okay, no problem. I will text you the information.
Yeah, I have a
Thank
show
you.
too.
I
Unfortunately,
appreciate
it'll be in Maryland.
Yes, absolutely. I'll text you.
Todd's leaving, of course, because he's like, I don't want to hang out with these there.
Absolutely.
Whatever.
Absolutely.
I don't want to hang out with
Give
these
me a
there.
Obama voice.
What's that?
The Obama.
So,
That's how you sound, bro.
The reason that Daniel Cormier is on the podcast right now is affirmative action. we need more black people to enjoy MMA.
Hey, Todd, listen to this, though.
What's that?
John Jones and I were on World Star Hip Hop twice and had over 1 million views on World Star Hip Hop.
Really?
wow.
1 million views on World Star.
Wow.
Dude, if somebody would have just, like, audited, put some audio over when we were fighting someone just going, World Star,
Hilarious.
World Star. It was awesome, right? Like, God dang, what are you guys doing? Let's do the World Star thing.
I just want to say that
McGregor's doing the World Star.
January 3rd, you gonna knock his bitch ass out. Come to the White House, have dinner with me and Michelle. After you knock that bitch ass motherfucker out.
Todd, you've gotten really good at that. I remember when you first started doing it, and it was just awful.
It sounded like John Kerry.
It's much. Hey, you were going for Barack Obama in the beginning, yes, and you were getting a little John Kerry, Bill Clinton. It was kind of in the middle of the southern weird.
He sounded like Czech Congo, actually.
Check Congo.
Good now, though. Todd, it's very good now. Good job, man.
I appreciate that there,
you worked
handsome.
hard at that.
Well, after getting all the free handouts, you might as well thank the guy that's giving them to you.
All right, boys.
Because you're getting handouts from
I gotta
Obama.
get going, boys.
Listen, all right, so listen, Daniel Cormier, it's a pleasure having you on the show. You are
Champ.
You're going to be the champion.
Champ is here.
You're amazing. You're a great influence. You're a great role model. Where can people find you?
At Popeye's Chicken.
Twitter at DC_MMA. Instagram at DC_MMA. And like my Facebook fan page, Daniel Cormier MMA. Guys, also, grab your Break Bones tees. They're all different colors.
Man, you better send me one.
Get them at cfathletic.com. They're awesome, man. They're great T-shirt.
Send me one, man, and I'll send you a Daniel Cormier trauma shirt.
I mean, you still got some for me, don't you?
I do.
You got some for where are my T-shirts at, man? I want them. I actually want them now.
They're at my house.
All right, I'm gonna pick them up. Oh wait, I'm not allowed to go there
Why not?
because you're gonna be in Maryland. Every time I'm in LA, you're like, I'm not gonna be there. I don't want to fight you, Todd. I don't want to fight you.
I want to see that.
Hey, Adam, before I go,
Yes.
I just want you to know that the night that John Jones kind of dissed Todd.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yes.
Hey, the night he kind of dissed Todd at the World MMA Awards. I've never seen a guy's feeling so hurt, Adam.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. That is such BS.
This dude was hurt.
No, Daniel was the hurt one. Daniel was like, did he really say that?
Oh, man.
I was like, hey, this dude walked back like he was about to start crying. I was like, what is that?
He didn't diss me. He dissed you to me.
He was like, nothing, man. Nothing. I was like, what is wrong, dude? I was like, what's wrong with you? He's like, no, weird. He's like, nothing, man. I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to start nothing. I was like, all right,
Now,
man.
that part is true.
Get out here.
Because Daniel was like, I'm going to go over there and say something to this dude. And I was like, I don't want to be looking like a snitch. And then, John turned to me.
You know what would have been awesome if that was your voice and not just this sad, somber.
Oh, my God. You got to hang up on this guy. Who is this clown?
You got a kid in trouble and you're like, why'd you do that? I don't know. And they kind of go, and they suck their teeth every time. Like,
Oh, my God.
man.
if you suck your teeth again, I'm going to spank you. And so they start trying to stop. That was Todd. I don't want to say nothing. I don't want to be a snitch. He's like, I don't want to be a snitch.
The teeth sucker, get out of here.
Wow, sucking your
I'm
teeth.
not
huh?
lying.
I've never done that.
The whole time he's like telling me what's going on. He's like shaking his head no. Like, this dude was hurt bad, man. This dude was hurt so bad. This dude was hurt bad, dude. Bad.
That's so funny. Wow. That was so nice of you
it
to
was
stick up
bad.
for your friend. That's so nice of you, Daniel, to protect Todd.
I appreciate that.
I did actually. I ended up protecting him.
He went over to him and was like, hey, did you hurt my buddy Todd's feelings?
I was like, what did you do to Todd? Well, hey, he's all, well, first off, who's Todd? I was like that cream-colored brother over there with the big suit.
With the big suit. What
The usher at the door, by the door.
Oh, I thought he worked
All
there.
right, man. I got to get going, boys.
All right, DC.
Thank you, man.
All right, man.
Thanks
Thank
for being
you.
on the show.
Hey, thank you guys. Adam, text me. Bye-bye.
Will do.
Later, man.
Wow, that was funny.
Dude, coolest guy ever.
That is so funny. I didn't realize you were so hurt. Now it all makes sense why Daniel went up. Why he went up to John Jones because
He was protecting me,
he
man.
was protecting you. What a nice guy. I want someone to hurt me so you can protect me too as well. I go around getting hurt by people.
He's like,
So funny.
Oh man.
he's like,
Hello.
Hello, is this Daniel Cormier?
Yeah.
You're on the MMA Roasted podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter. I'm here with Bubba Jenkins. How are you, man?
Hey, what's up, Adam? How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you? Last time I talked to you
Good. Just get.
was before you were the champion. You are now the champion. How fucking great is that?
Yeah, man, I'm pumped. It's a great feeling, man. Just finished training.
Nice.
Just walked out of the gym, actually, going to pick my kids up from school.
Nice. You got a huge fight coming up against Alexander Gustafsson. How are you feeling about this fight, and how are you preparing for him?
I feel good, man. You know, Alex presents some problems because of his height and his footwork, but I think we've covered those things, man. We've been working real hard and just preparing in all the areas we're going to need in order to win this fight. This is a very tough fight, but very winnable, and one that I expect to win, and not only just win, but win dominantly.
Now, I mean, a guy like Gustafsson, you know, there's no way he can catch up to your wrestling and what you've accomplished in your wrestling. Is that the game plan? Just take this guy down and just pound the shit out of him?
No, man. You know, I'm going to do everything. You know, I think you cannot limit yourself to one singular game plan.
Right.
There are levels to what we're going to do. We're looking at doing a lot of different things inside of the octagon, and obviously wrestling is one part of that. But that is not our singular focus. You know, we're looking to fight everywhere. We figure he'll defend some takedowns. He won't defend some takedowns. Sometimes he'll get back to his feet. Sometimes he won't get back to his feet. So we've got to be prepared to do everything.
Right. No, that's why you're the champion. Other people would not be the champion. That's why you're the champion. Now, your last fight, I was worried, man. You went into that fight against Anthony Johnson, who creates a problem for everybody. How hurt were you in that first round?
You know what, man? I wasn't that hurt. You know, a lot of it I think had to do with me slipping. I kind of fell when he hit me. You know, he landed a really good shot, but I wasn't really hurt. You know, I was kind of stunned, but I think it was more just balance. He hit me with a really good shot. Yeah. It wasn't that bad. I felt like I was okay. You know, I was able to grab him right away, and I didn't allow him to get the follow-up shot on me. You know, it's not the first shot that really gets you out of there. It's the ones that come afterwards, the second and the third and the fourth, and I was able to stay away from those other big shots, you know?
I mean, have you ever been more hurt than that in a fight or in a sparring?
Yeah, I've been hurt more than that before. I got kneed one time in practice. I got kneed by Josh Garnett. It was a lot worse than that, but, you know, that one just looked much worse than it really was. I did get hit, but I was actually going back, and I was fading away from the shot when he hit me, so I was able to actually take a lot of the power off of it.
Gotcha. Now, by the way, I gotta thank you. People know this, that like last year during this time, I wrote the song All About That Cake, and I texted you and I said, hey, will you be in this All About That Cake video? And you replied, sure, man, no problem. I think you kind of were like, whatever, sure, whatever. And then you actually showed up to shoot. I couldn't be there. I was on the road. Did you even know what you were going into?
No, not really. You know, it was a little different, but
a bit different.
Sometimes you got to be willing to just let go, you know, and have fun. And it seemed fun. You know, it was a good time. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. And when it was playing at the MMA Awards, I was like, "Oh my goodness, you gotta be kidding me!"
No, because I texted you. I go, how'd it go? And then you go, to be honest, it just went okay. You know, and I was like, shit, he's probably
it was just okay. I didn't know how it went. You know, I was like, I don't know. It seemed kind of crazy, but whatever. It was fun. I had a good time, and it ended up going over like gangbusters.
Dude, it got 40 million hits on Facebook. The thing went ballistic. I mean, people were saying that you're like my grandmother's favorite fighter. Little kids were saying it. It got on television. What were you thinking during all that?
Yeah. It was just nuts. I was like, wow, this is much bigger than I ever anticipated becoming. I was like, this is nuts. I was like, I cannot believe so many people are watching this video. And it wasn't like it was happening over the course of time. This was happening over like a day. It was like, whoa, from 2 million to 10 million. I was like, man, this is crazy.
But you said your daughters loved it, right?
My daughter loved it.
she kept singing it and singing it, and she doesn't say all about the cake. She kept going ba 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 chicken. She's a baby, but she loved it, man. She just absolutely loved it, and I think more than anything, that's what made it okay, because once your kids see it, you're like, all right, this is okay.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I figured your kids probably see you fight all the time, but they know you as the goofy dad. So now it was nice to see that they could celebrate you as goofy dad, and now everyone else saw it too.
The craziest thing is for everything I've accomplished in the sport, people come up to me and go, "You're the cake and chicken guy." And I'm like, "Wow, you're the cake and chicken guy."
Now the sad part was that it came out right after the John Jones fight, and I was like, "Oh no," and then people were like, "Man," they were like, "John Jones must have really fucked this guy up." Now he's talking about cake and chicken.
I did it long before that, though. I'd done it long before that.
Yeah, that's what.
Just the fact that people could think that losing a competition could make somebody go off the deep end like that is insane. After everything that I've been through in my entire life, to think that losing in a competitive event would make me lose my mind is crazy. There are many more things over the course of my life that would have made me lose my mind before losing a freaking fight.
Now, what do you think about John Jones? Do you think he's going to end up serving jail time, or you think he'll get out? What are your thoughts on all that?
I don't know, man. It's like we don't hear anything. We don't know what's going on, and I think that's for the best. I think John's doing the right thing. I think John's at home working on John, the person, and not really worrying about John, the fighter. In time, John will his face again, and he'll be just as good as he always was, and he'll be right back on the top, fighting for the championship. So, most important thing is right now him fixing himself personally, and the fact that we don't hear from him. I think that's step number one. Isolate yourself to the people that really care about you, the people that truly love you, and let them help you through this time. I mean, I don't know what's going on with John. I don't know if it's going to be jail time. I don't know. I really don't spend that much of my time thinking about it. I really honestly only think about John Jones when I'm in a competitive situation. That's it.
Now I gotta say,
outside of that, I worry about other things that are much more important: my kids and my family.
Now I gotta say, that first fight with John Jones, or the only fight with John Jones you had, I was at the weigh-ins, right? And here's when I became very concerned about you, because I was really hoping you'd win. Honestly, I'm still hoping you win. I'm so happy you're the champ now. But I was at the weigh-ins, and I saw that when you were weighing in, you were so emotional. And I had never seen an athlete that emotional, and I was like, shit! Like, this guy
past that level is personal at that point.
It may be too personal, and maybe too much. You were not relaxed. Every fight before that, you were extremely relaxed. Your fight with Bigfoot Silva, your fight with Barnett, all your fights, you're very even with Anthony Johnson, very relaxed. But with John Jones, you were so intense. Yeah. Do you think that worked against you?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Too invested emotionally. I tied myself too much to everything. And then the thing about it was, because the fight got pushed back, everything was, long. Everything wasn't a 2-month deal where him and I were just, into each other constantly. But it was, for years. And then 6 more months afterwards because he hurt himself. It was just a long build, so much around it. It played too big a part in it. I have to detach myself if him and I are to ever compete again.
Yeah, no, I think a relaxed Cormier, it's a different fight, and I think it's a different.
I'm better that way. I'm better when I can differentiate personal from professional, and I've always done a good job of that. It's just in that instance, I was not able to do that. That's why when we started fighting, the pace was so frantic and ridiculous. It was very tough to keep. So as you got into the later rounds, both of us are pretty much just holding each other. He got those takedowns in the fourth, but for the most part, we were just kind of hugging against the fence because we were so damn tired.
Yeah, no, and I think a rematch is a different fight. Now I got to mention Bubba Jenkins is here. Before the interview, he was saying that he went to your Olympic Training Center?
Yeah, we was at the Olympic Training Center.
And that you
long time ago,
and
2007, 2008, something like that.
You were making fun of him for having nappy hair, and that you told him he would never be champion, and that there were 10 guys that were better than him, and then you had won the championship, right?
He told me, why am I there for Junior Worlds? Because we haven't had a Junior World champion since 1999 at that point. And then he's like...
He won it. And then he won it.
And then he said, man, what weight you wrestling next year? And him and Mo Law were ganging up on me, right? So he goes, what weight you wrestling next year? I'm like at 149. He was like, man, Jordan Burroughs, Dario Caldwell, Schlater, man, I know 10 guys right now. At the top of my head. You won't even All-American. Yep.
Hey, listen. Hey, listen. Seems like I did a pretty good job with the kid. He overcame adversity to show me up. And 7 years later, he's bragging about it. DC, what a motivational guy you are to Bubba Jenkins. Hey, Adam, I did not know he held me in such high regard that he needed to impress me like that. Thank you, Bubba. I appreciate it.
No doubt, man. Thank you. I do. Because honestly, all jokes aside, when I went to the training center, me being a young black kid from Virginia, like a little bit hood area, I'm like, oh, Cormier's there and Mo Law's there, and these are black guys that are doing it in the sport. So it was like, oh, I'm looking up to these guys, and then I sit there after practice, and they're like, who is this nappy headed mother? Get your ass out!
Hey, Bubba had some nappy hair back in the day. Though I was like, wow, Bubba looked like us. And problem was I was just looking at myself in college because I had some nappy hair. I was like, dang, I was busted like that. Bubba's the man. Bubba's the man now. Bubba's the man. Bubba does a good job. Bubba does commentating for ESPN, for NCAA wrestling tournaments. Bubba's fighting good in Bellator. Bubba's NCAA champ, Junior World Championship. Man, I can't say anything bad about my man Bubba Jenkins. And if the time is right, Bubba J will lace up those wrestling shoes and go out there and wrestle again. Not many of us will do that.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. If you give me the right name and say, hey, you can't beat this guy because he's a champion, I'll say, man, let me hop off the couch and put on these Asics again. Have to tap that ass. Man, I did try.
I'll get him. Hey, Adam, I'll get him wrestling by next year. Don't worry about it. I'll take him. Let me work on some material for Bubba. He'll be on the Olympic team next year.
You're right. You got to talk some trash. I'll be back out there.
Well, Bubba's got a big fight coming up against Jordan Parsons. He's fighting in Bellator.
Yeah, November 20th, man. I got this. And like you said, you got real emotional into that John Jones fight. This guy's been calling me out. He's been hitting up my Twitter, hitting up my Facebook. I mean, he's been hitting up everything. And I've actually lost a little sleep about how I'm going to beat this guy up. You know what I mean? Like, I was in my sleep and I threw a hook while I was sleeping, like, and thinking about how I want to beat him up. And November 20th is 3 months away. So, I gotta stay calm and not be so emotionally invested in it. But I want to beat the hell out of this dude.
You gotta detach yourself, man.
Yeah, for
you gotta detach yourself. Whatever you do, spend some time with your family and don't worry about this guy. This guy is gonna be there on November 20th, and that's the only time you should really worry about him outside of training situations.
Right.
Outside of that, man, just live your life. Don't let this guy seep into your real life. That's it. I don't let these guys. These guys don't matter in my real life. What matters in my real life is what's important, my family, my kids. That's it. Nothing else matters. This is a sport, man. We're doing this for sport.
Absolutely. Got to feed the family with it. But I was trying to talk to you in Vegas about that Typifier thing. You've been naming off these accolades. Man, I'm trying to start this business up with Typifier, and you was treating your boy like 2008 again.
Really?
No, he was cool with it, but I didn't want to talk to him at the party or anything like that.
Was that a party, Bubba?
Yeah. You're right. I didn't. That's why I didn't even bring it up. I didn't bring it up. That's why I was like, I'm gonna just chill. I never brought it up.
So Dan, Bubba has this company where fans.
Let me tell you something. I didn't treat Bubba that way. Bubba. They said they wouldn't let you go with Timberlands on. Who got you in the spot? Who got you in, Bubba?
My man.
I was like, man, let's go,
Cormier.
Bubba. Let's go, baby.
Okay.
I was with the champ, so everything was cool. They were like, no Timberlands, a.k.a. no black people without being somebody kind of thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna walk in with Cormier and everything's going to be cool. We didn't even go through the regular exit. We went up the elevator in the back, son, through the back door, right behind the DJ booth and shit.
So
that's my guy, Bubba, man.
So Bubba started this company to help fighters. Basically, the fans can directly tip the fighter. fighter. It's called Tip a Fighter. So let's say you knock out Gustafsson in the first round. You're with Tip a Fighter. You have 1 million fans. They all throw you $20. All of a sudden, you got $20 million. So it's this thing where the fans can directly tip the fighter.
Yeah, man. I started
That's awesome. That's a great idea.
I've been trying to basically get 10 minutes of your ear so I can explain it to you, but man, it's taking off. We got about 25 now.
Adam,
Yes.
text me. Make sure Bubba has my number so we can talk. Bubba, you got my number.
You know I
Call
got
me
your
after
number.
this.
Right.
Hey boys, I got the UFC. I got the UFC calling me right now. I should probably answer it.
Yeah, you should probably do that, man. But
Okay,
good talking
cool.
to you, buddy.
Thank you, DC. DC, thanks for being on the show,
All
man.
right, Adam. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
No problem, boys. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Daniel. You think the UFC was caller? He wanted to get off the phone.
There he goes again, avoiding me.
He's like, by the way, Obama's calling right now. I gotta go, man. But yeah, so that was Daniel
but
Cormier.
you know he's the face right now for them as far as the bigger guys go and stuff. So I would not doubt at all that UFC's calling him and they want him to do some PR work and stuff like that. He's
Such
got a big
great
fight,
guy, man.
Yeah, Cormier has been a really cool guy. After he did, in his defense, he did call me after I won Junior Worlds. He called me and told me how proud of it he was.
Oh, really?
But yeah, so I weighed it like first I was mad at him, then I was okay with him, and then I neutralized it and being like, okay, we're acquaintances. But then after the years went by, I got over it, obviously. But,
Yeah, 7 years later.
7 years later, he's like, I did a good job speaking, Bubba. And yeah,
It's funny
now
that
that I see it that way, he definitely did a good job of motivating me because I never forgot that. I will never forget it till the day I die that. There was a time I was looking up to these guys and they put me down, but it only really, like he was saying, it really only
I have that
helped
with
drive
comics
me.
too. Comics have told me when I first started out, like, but it's hard when you meet like your hero. They say never meet your heroes. They're only going to let you down. Which
Right.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I understand it. It's got to be hard for you because especially King Mo. First time I met King Mo, he was such a dick to me.
Yeah.
I met King Mo. I don't think is as good at first impressions.
No,
but
not
after
good
you
at
actually talk to him, he's the sweetest guy.
Yeah.
and he's a good dude.
Yeah, King
But
Sue.
in the beginning, he's just one of those dudes. I think that like
They put up that new personality page up. Like you won't get the mole that from back in the day in college. You'll get the mole that has done something, and then they put up that wall. It's two different walls. Like when I'm at church and stuff like that, I'm obviously not telling about my own personal life, but
Right.
I still meet and greet people, real casual. But if I'm at a wrestling tournament, there's a different wall there. I'm not new or shady to anybody.
Right.
There won't be any stories. You can ask anybody, Twitter it, find it out. All the people who are listening, go try and find someone who said I've actually been a dick to them. You won't find it because I'm
You took
always
time out
open
of
to
your
everybody.
day to drive 45 minutes out of the way to coach a bunch of kids. That would have cost me, I don't know how many thousands of dollars that would have cost me. You did it because you're a nice guy.
Yeah.
You're a friend. You're a guy.
But I pride myself, and this is the thing that a lot of MMA guys don't understand. Like, my neighborhood is like, you can't change. You can't change because so many people make it out of Virginia, and then when you go back to Virginia, I think Virginia is more of a small community. We got so many great athletes, Michael Vick, Allen Iverson. You can keep naming them, and, a lot of them go back and they're the same, and a lot of them go back and they're changed. So I pride myself. Absolutely, to the day I die, I will be the same person that, obviously things will change about me, but me willing to shake a hand, sign an autograph, take a picture, and talk to the people, that's half the reason why I'm doing it. Half the reason is to get paid. The other half is to be competitive. But there's another percentage in there of being that person that wants me to be like, I pride myself on being this cool, everyday, you can talk to me anywhere type of person. Because that's what you gotta have.
That's super cool. Now, as far as Michael Vick being, how big is dogfighting in your area?
Man, it's big in the south.
Trap sonsen trap donsen Түүний сонсдог хөгжим дур булаан Даадаж дуулан дур булаа мууруулаа